right, y'all. This is Rick with Get Out and Fish, and we're back. We're doing a real full-on edited video, start to finish. We're gonna make something really cool today, and it's been getting a lot of buzz on Instagram and Facebook and all those things. But yeah, today we are going to do some open pouring, some capsuling, some dusting, some all kinds of fun stuff. And it looks high level, but it's really pretty easy. It's a lot easier than skin pouring colored plastic on, but you'll see. Anyway, I'm back. We're doing this. We're gonna be more regular with videos, and if you can't tell, I'm super excited about it. So please do me a favor. Right somewhere here, there will be a little animation that I had to do a lot of work to acquire. So please hit the like and subscribe, and we'll be right back. All right, y'all, we are back. And I'm behind the camera again. It's rolling. Let's do this. So I've been tinkering around, wanting to step up my game. Been doing some techniques I've been seeing out there from the Chris Joneses and Richard Rays and Johnny Sweet, and they've been making some cool stuff, and I've been paying tons of close attention to it. And I'm trying to get something like kind of that's the techniques, but kind of my own little, thing. And this is what I've come up with so far. This is a practice run I did yesterday, and it looks pretty cool. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, I know I made it, so I'm biased, but look at that. It's gonna be like a trout swim bait with all kinds of cool technique. And to be honest, the way I do this, it takes a little longer, but in terms of difficulty, it's a lot easier than, the typical way we do trouts, or the typical way I've done. I think I've done a video on it where I'll get some pink plastic and I'll pour a line of pink plastic, and then I'll have a nice white pearl belly, right? And then I'll have like a green, kind of dark green top layer with like the big flake to look like the dots and everything. But then you have like issues that come up with that. Like the flake will want to fall down as you heat it up. If you're not heating it up, it's not going to meld all together. So you got to heat it up, right? Now those big flake have a tendency to sink down to the bottom, and you lose all the effect. The way we do this, we don't have to worry about that anymore. The flake there's not a lot of flake. But let me quit jabbering and get into this. So we got a couple powders over here that I picked out. We got pearl powder. We got some Hypershift ZTG powder. And this stuff I just ordered this is going to be a new thing for me. This was a lot cheaper than the regular color shifts. I think this was like $14 for the bag. That's a big bag. For the ZTG and the ZGA and all those popular ones, this bag would cost about $180. That's 25 grams. We got for like 14. So this is I got this because I thought it was going to be silver and I could use it for silver applications, but it turns out it's pretty cool, and it's not that expensive. The ZTG we're going to use, this is still expensive. 5 grams I think is about $40 plus shipping, and it takes forever to get. But when we're done, you're going to see it's worth it. We got some regular purple pearl powder we're going to use. I use a little bit of flake on the capsuling. We got the black dotting. Everyone's probably, if you're watching this video, you've probably seen like other guys that are leading the way with the painting. And I'm trying to get on board with it too, because everyone else is getting better out there, and I need to step up my game. So we got that. We got some dead-on craw tube blend, because this is the Angling AI 7 1/4 inch mold. So this is going to be a 7 1/4 inch trout we're going to make. So let me quit talking and let's get this plastic heated up. All right, y'all, we're back. Now, I got some freshly heated up. It's workable, been vacuumed. Craw tube blend from Dead On. And all I'm going to do for right now is I'm going to add just a little bit of flake. It's just good practice. Just adds a little more texture, and I'm literally just like that's just a little bitty bit. That's all I'm going to use. And all we're going to do is we're going to capsule this mold. And I watched Chris Jones. Anytime I'm out here working, I'm usually watching other guys making baits too. So Chris Jones had one of his videos, and he capsuled something. I was like, why was I doing it so hard before? This is what he did. This is one I want to capsule all the way back from where the scales start all the way up. And he just made it so much simpler than I've been doing it. So this is how I do it now. I just go from the back, and it seems like it should be common knowledge to do that, but I want it all capsuled, and then I want the excess dumped out. And we'll clean that up later. But you see how it's uneven a little bit, and but I did scatter that flake pretty evenly, just like I wanted. I wanted that flake just like that. I think it looks great. Kind of barely scattered out. It's hard to see it on camera, but you'll see it on the finished product. So I'm going to go ahead and do the other one, and we'll be right back for the next step. All right, so I did a quick shot of me hitting this with the heat gun. If it bothers you, go ahead and use a heat gun. Get all those little, because it's hard to get these perfect whenever you capsule them. So if it bothers you, some guys like me, sometimes I like the lines in there. It makes it look kind of unperfect, I guess. And as we all know, that's kind of what we want. We want it to look natural. But if it bothers you, hit it with the heat gun, kind of work it, and then you can get a nice flat layer of plastic in there. All right, y'all, we're back. Now this is the part where I'm afraid people are gonna feel intimidated, but they shouldn't be, because I got a paintbrush out, I got the dotting paint. Neither of these are expensive. These take a little longer to get melty because they can't fly. They have to ground ship these, I think, because they're really flammable. And you'll see whenever you open this up, it's a nice punch in the face of chemically smelling. It reminds me of my mom's fingernail polish remover on steroids. And the safety part is we're going to be using a lot of particulates, a lot of fumes. So highly recommending. No, I'm not even recommending. I'm telling you straight out, you need to wear a respirator of some kind, so you're not breathing all this stuff in. Now, I'm not going to do it because I want y'all to be able to hear me on the video, but rest assured. All right, I'm back. My camera froze up on me and I had to restart it. But yeah, this is where we're going to go. This does not have to be intimidating. It kind of scared me off at first until I tried it, and this is so much easier than trying to pour stripes or pour colored plastic on here how you want it. Now, don't get me wrong. When you do it and you do it right, the pouring colored plastic looks great. And you can see that on all the Facebook groups about soft plastic bait making. There's some cool stuff going on out there. But this is kind of, to me, it looks a little more real. And it's just a whole different technique, a whole nother way of looking at it. And I'm really getting into it. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to grab a little bit of this black, and make sure it's the black dotting. It's a little thicker, and it's better to paint on here. I'm just going to take this, and I'm just going to, it's hard for us to be random, but I'm going to do my best to randomly put dots all around. And this, whenever we get it on the hot plate and we're melting all the plastic together, these will not fall down to the bottom like the big chunks of 0.062 flake tend to do. So this takes a few minutes, but it's not hard. I mean, each little dot is just, I'm just trying to make a nice little round dot, and I want it to look as random as possible. I don't want it to look like lines of dots. I want to really not concentrate on where I'm putting it. Just wherever I pick first, just go there. And some of them you don't have to make perfectly round dots. make like a little, like an ovally looking shape. So I'm going to continue doing this, and all right, y'all, we're back. So I did both of these, and you can see I just kind of randomly put dots with that black dotting SV coat in there. And you see how it's kind of thicker, and then it kind of lightens up as it gets lower and lower. That's just the effect I was going for. You don't have to do it the same way. So you look at wild-caught trout or trout pictures on Google, and you'll see the complete trout is covered in dots. Or some of them, it's just like the top part's covered in dots. Or, you know, there's all kinds of weird, random patterns that rainbows have. So this is kind of just the one that was easy to mimic, and that's how I dotted it. And really, I really focus on getting plastic everywhere. That way I didn't have to worry about getting dotting paint on the bare metal at all. So even up in the head cavity, it's full of plastic, and I put some dots up in there too. So I really, from where the scales start all the way to the front, I wanted to make sure it was completely covered in capsule of plastic. So now, this is a little easier. Something a little more familiar to everyone is the dusting. I just got regular purple pearl powder. I don't know what happened with some of the trouts you see out there. People take like straight pink bubble gum and make a big straight purple like pink line, and it's just, that's not really what trouts look like, you know. I mean, sure, a lot of baits, it looks good, and everyone has like their own little version of trout. And this is one I've been trying to nail down for a while, and I'm a lot more happy with this method. So it's not usually just a whole big thing of purple or pink. I've seen some with purple, some with pink. You can find all kinds of them. I'm going with purple just because I love this purple pearl powder. Looks really good on here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a very light dusting, and I'm going to hit these gills, because you see them up in these gills. I'm just going to kind of powder it like that, and that's really it. I'm not getting too thick with it. It's actually kind of hard to not get thick, so I'm doing my best to not make it thick. And this black dotting paint, it dries really quick. So I haven't had an issue yet of like rubbing off a dot that hasn't dried yet or smudging it. It's pretty instant whenever to dry. So by the time you're done dotting it, it's usually all ready to go and dry. Or that's how, I mean, this is only the 4th time I've ever done this, so I'm not an expert. And I'm just going to try and make a straight purple smudgy line kind of down the midsection of this bait. That doesn't have to be straight. I'm just going to kind of work that powder on there a little bit. I'm not doing anything Leonardo da Vinci level or famous artist level. This is just kind of putting some powder on where I want it. You could easily do this with a Q-tip if you wanted. Without having to have a paintbrush. A Q-tip would probably work better, to be honest. I just now thought of that. That's why, now that I think about it, that'd probably be a lot easier to do. But yeah, that's all I'm doing. And then whenever I feel like it's too powdery somewhere, I just kind of smudge it. We can't make this exact because we want it to look kind of realistic. But, and I'm going to go all the way back. I like this line to go way back into the tail. Y'all can do it however you want. But this is like the basic idea. And it's fun. I'm not going to lie. So that's what we got for that guy. I'm going to do the same one here, and we'll be right back with the next colors. All right, we're back. And I got the ZTG. Everyone knows or has most likely heard of this stuff. I get it from Dip Your Car. It's a little pricey, but you don't have to have this stuff. You can, whatever kind of pearls or powders you got laying around that kind of are trout adjacent, you know, use those. This is just what I chose to go with because I got it laying around and I use it in a lot of my baits. But I gotta say, I love how it turns out. So I'm just gonna pop the bag open. I'm gonna use it very sparingly. Not only because this is a lot more expensive than purple pearl powder, but a little bit really goes a long way. You don't have to like brush a bunch on there. And I'm just gonna dab it in. And I'm not even getting into like the pile of powder in the bag. I'm just kind of working the sides of the bag with the little crumbs that are on the sides of the bag. Yep, that's all we're doing. I'm gonna do that for both sides of the mold, and that's really all there is to it. I don't want it to be bunched up in one spot and then light in another. I'm trying to get it as even as possible. Yeah. All right. So I'm going to finish this up and on the other side, and then I'll be back for the belly color. All right. And that's what we're looking at right there. Tried to brush it on as thin as I could, and it's looking good. Looking kind of like a trout, right? But now I got this powder I was talking about. This stuff looks really cool, and it's a lot cheaper for some reason. So 25 grams is only 15 bucks. Like I said earlier, the ZTG and the ZGAs, 25 grams of that would be like 180 bucks. So it's about $200 an ounce. Very expensive. I use it very sparingly. A little bit goes a long way. This stuff, I actually want it on there thick because it looks really good, and it's not expensive. So I'm gonna grab this guy, try and flip it over, and I'm really gonna cake it on the bottom portion of this. It's still gonna get the fill color that I'm gonna pour in there, but you're going to get a whole face full of this stuff. Look how pretty that is. It almost looks like ZGA, but it doesn't have the hyper shift. It's just a color shift. I'm not an expert on what the difference is, but I do know there's a difference. If anyone knows, put it down in the comments so we can all learn. But yeah, I'm going to cake this on the belly on both baits. I'm going to get it on there as thick as I can without, wasting powder. But this stuff looks so cool, and it really it makes your trout kind of pop. If you're trying to get like a big game fish, like a bass or a big striper, this is going to stand out over the other trout in the body of water you're fishing. I know all my friends and a lot of my customers, they fish Willow Beach below Lake Mead. And there's some big trout in there that feed on there's a trout hatchery right down at the marina, right near the marina at Willow Beach. And those big I'm talking, they've had 30-plus pounders caught out of there and full of 8 to 10 inch rainbow trouts. Their bellies they got 3 in their belly already, and they caught them trying to mimic another one. So they're definitely down there feeding on these. And I'm sure anywhere you have bigger caliber fish with trout, they're going to be eating those things because, who wouldn't like a nice trout for dinner, right? But yeah, let's cake this stuff on. I am not being liberal. I am being very generous with the amount of this stuff I'm putting on the belly. All right. So let me finish this up. We'll be back with some more steps in a moment. All right, y'all. I'm in between steps now, but I just thought of something. I see this question a lot on the Facebook groups. Quick tip. Buy some cheap little spray bottles off Amazon. You get a pack of 4 for a few bucks. I don't know. I don't remember paying anything significant for these. But I put worm oil inside here. I use it for everything. When I'm injecting stuff into molds, I have the spray bottle ready to go. When I'm cleaning, like after I've done a few injections and it's getting kind of grimy in there, I spray this in there, wipe it out, and it's ready to go again. I do a lot of, I'm getting ready to, what made me think of this was I'm getting ready to see all that powder residue that's gotten on the mold that I don't want there. I just get a drop or two on a piece of paper towel, and I just wipe it all off. It gets it all kind of off there. There's so many purposes I use worm oil for. I see that question a lot. What do people use worm oil for? I'm constantly buying worm oil, and I don't use I'm not spending a fortune on worm oil, but I do use it a lot. That's so helpful. I try not to introduce any chemicals or outside things. The worm oil is just, to my understanding, is just the oil that's already in your plastic without the resin. So this oil, I mean, I'm trying to keep like items together. I'm not trying to put like cleaners or bleach or soap or anything in contact with this stuff. This is worm oil. It's naturally part of soft plastic, so I clean everything, and it does a good job with that. I lube things up with that. I clean my molds with it. I'll spray them down with that spray bottle, and I'll have an old toothbrush that I bought just for cleaning my molds, and I'll clean the mold with that toothbrush. So just quick tip, answers a lot of questions people ask, but man, look how cool that looks. All right, let's go to the next step. All right, y'all. This is just the leftover plastic I used to capsule, but I put 1/8 of a teaspoon of just plain white pearl powder in there. It's just something to fill it up with. I just figured white pearl would be fine. Not really putting a lot of thought or emphasis into it, but I am thinking about how I'm going to pour that. I'm going to pour this as high as I can before it starts to run down into the tail. So I'm just going to pour as much as I can in there without it running backwards. I've been heating up the mold for a while too on this hot plate, so it's good and hot. And I still got another color I'm going to do on the top, but I'm just trying to put something green, dark green adjacent. I don't want it saturated at all. I want it to be see-through, but I'm just going to make it like a good blend for the pattern we're going for. All right, that ought to be plenty. All right, we'll mix up that other color and we'll be right back. All right, y'all, we're back. I got another cup mixed up. This is very, very light. I got 1 drop of Dead On Black. That stuff, a little drop of that goes a long way. And I got 3 drops of my MF Green Pumpkin Green, which is one of my favorite green pumpkins. So, it's heated up, it's vacuumed, and we're ready to pour. So I'm just going to fill her up is really all I'm doing with this. Of course, when I'm on video, I spill on the side of the mold. That's how I do, y'all. Top her off nice and good there. All right, so we're done with the bait. All we got to do now is let her cook for a sec, and we'll open her up whenever she's cooled off and see if all of this work was worth it. All right, be right back. All right, y'all, we are back. It's still a little warm, but it's not scalding my hand, so we can open it. But before I do, I just wanted to get another opportunity to let y'all know to hit the like button somewhere down there. But please help me out. Anyway, we're done. The biggest barrier to entry is not for making baits like this. For me, obviously, it's not really expense because we get the cheapest things we can buy. We got pearls laying around the house. It doesn't have to be a trout pattern. It can be any kind of thing you think of. The real barrier to entry on this style of baits is just kind of in your own head. It took me a while to be like, man, these things look so cool. There's no way I could do that. And here they are, like my live I did a few weeks ago with the mackerel. That ended up being kind of popular. And really, it didn't take a lot of like artwork or like fancy drawing. I was just kind of scribbling lines on it and brushing some paint, some powder on it, and it turned out looking really good. So don't be surprised if you surprise yourself with this technique. It's all in your head if you're saying you can't do it. It's not like having to buy a crazy like expensive piece of equipment to be able to do this or anything. It's really just telling yourself, yeah, you can do it too. That's what I had to convince myself of before I did this. And they've been turning out pretty cool. But enough jibber jabber. Let's see how it turned out. Ha 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 ha! Yes. Look at that. I'm very happy with that. What do y'all think? Got to get an eye. I got like a little orangey, yellowish, orange, reddish kind of eye there. It never looks complete till the eye's on, in my opinion. There we go. Get one of these guys. And just throw her on there. Yeah. I'm very satisfied with this bait, and it's probably going to make my regular rotation of baits. I'd say the key, because I've done this twice before with the trout pattern, and what I did the last time, the only difference between this one and the last one is the color, the top color that I poured in was way darker in my last baits. I lightened it up. I'm used to using an off-brand black for all my formulas and everything, but since the move, I can't find it. I've been using Dead On, and that's a lot thicker, so one drop will do you. I put 1 drop of black and then a couple drops of green pumpkin green. I lightened this up, and now it looks a lot better. I had it too dark. The color behind the powder was too dark, so now it looks a lot more naturally flowing colors, right? I'm very, very happy with how these turned out. But obviously, doesn't matter if I'm happy. It matters if the customers and the viewers are happy. So tell me what you think. If you think it looks good, give me a like. Hit me up with a subscribe if you're not already subscribed. But that's how you do it. I didn't do anything crazy or artistic. Just painted stuff on there, and I love, love, love that Cobra. Get that Cobra stuff, guys, from Tip Your Car. If you're turned off by buying those color shifts because of the expense, like the ZGAs and all the ZTPs, all those that are super expensive, this one was only like $14 for the 25 gram. And this bag right here will last me years probably, because of how sparingly I use it. But that would be a nice little investment right there. 14 bucks. That stuff is gorgeous. It's color shift and it works. I mean, you can see in the bag how it looks, but that's the belly color. Tell me what you think. Hit like, hit subscribe, and let me know what you want to see next. Tight lines.